Welcome to Life Lessons with Lindsay. It's been a hot minute, but welcome back. It's January, it's a new year, new beginnings. So let's go, let's start this thing, all right? I want to talk about what many people talk about in January, goals, motivation, things like that, but a little bit more specific. I have goals. I have dreams, I have aspirations, I have hobbies I want to work on, and I'm not doing them. Why? Why am I not following through? I know that I want them, I know how to get them, but why am I not doing anything to achieve them? All right, so this is where I've been for a while. And this is what I want to talk about, right? So there are a lot of videos out there, even I'm probably sure I've made some just about like finding your purpose and just understanding what you want, and that's going to help you make some goals, right? And there are other things that we need to overcome, like fear of failure, fear of other people's opinions, fear of success, pretty much fear we need to overcome, all right? And those videos are important, and if you need help with that, maybe one day I'll make another one, and if you write a comment, I will. But right now, I want to talk about, it's not about not knowing my purpose. It's not about not knowing the steps I need to take. It's about just, I still don't do it. And why am I stopping myself? So my little story is that I have had migraines for about 20 years. And a few years ago, the medications I was taking caused me to have not only still have migraines, but also vertigo. It's when you literally spin all day long. And so I was in survival mode for a really long time. And not even survival mode, to be honest. There were some times where I was like, I'm dying. I'm dying, and this is my life. And I hate it. And the pathway to get to survival mode was very slow and at a very tiny incline, right? Because people, they can like progress like this. Prodigies, they progress like that, right? But when you are sick, the incline, I don't even know if you can tell, it's just like tiny, and you're just barely going up, barely making any progress any day of the week. And so it just feels really slow, all right? So in this progression, I eventually made it to this survival comfort mode, right? That's where I am right now. I still have bad days, bad weeks sometimes, especially if you get me in late nights and traveling and stuff like that. My migraines just kick in and I'm just like, barely hanging on, right? But for the most part, I'm doing all right. I'm feeling good. But in my realization of why I'm not accomplishing the things that I'm doing is because that I am in a comfort zone that I'm too scared to leave. It took me so long to get in this zone of comfort that I'm like, no, I'm good. Just let me stay here. I am, functioning. Let me stay here. Let me stay here. Please. Right? And that was fine for a time. But there is so much inside of me that goes, okay, you can stay here and have this life, but don't you want more? Aren't you wanting to try more things? And I go, yes, I do. Okay? And this is where now I've begun this new journey. I got to get out of my comfort zone. And I've talked about comfort zones. And if you've taken any of my classes at school, you know that I talk about how comfort zones are just kind of not where you grow. You can't stay in a comfort zone and expect a great life. And I didn't realize that I was in a comfort zone, right? Because my incline was so like tiny. And so that's my epiphany. I'm in a comfort zone. It's so nice to just kind of like come home and not have to worry about a whole lot. I have my habits, I have my routine, and that's what keeps, my migraines low. And so once I got that going, like, life is good. Why do I want to change this? Okay, so ask yourself this: what's holding you back? And it could be those original answers like, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, I'm afraid of that person, I'm afraid of judgment, I'm afraid of all of these things. Okay, or I don't know how, I don't know what steps to take, right? But if any of your answers are, ooh, I don't want to change, okay, that means that we're stuck in a comfort zone. And so here are a few things that I'm trying to incorporate myself to get me out of this comfort zone and to, get the life that I want. First off, our brains are a little dramatic. You have a goal, you have something you want, and you think of this big thing that you want, and you go, I don't have time for that. I can't dedicate that much time out of my life to make that happen. You want to be a writer, you want to be a singer, you want to be an athlete, okay? And you think, oh man, those guys do it for 8 hours a day. I can't do that. I don't have the time for that. So we need to tune down the dramatics and say, and this was me, right? Like, I have these dreams, but I feel like they're going to take hours out of my day. All right, chill out, calm down. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. That's all it's going to take in my day. So I need to shut my brain off. That's always thinking about the negative things and how, honestly, your brain is wired to find comfort. Like, it's always like, no, don't go to the uncomfortable place. Don't go to that. Like, that's danger, right? Our brain is wired to do that. That's what protected us from, saber-toothed tigers, right? But we got to fight the urge to be comfortable. We have to fight it and say, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable, but only for 30 minutes. And if 30 minutes is a stretch, 20. And if 20 minutes is a stretch, start with the 1 minute rule of, I'm going to work on this for 1 minute today, period. Okay? I've passed the 1 minute mark, so maybe I should have started there instead of the 30-minute mark. But even though, 30 minutes really isn't that bad, right? Our dramatic brain says hours, but it's like 30 minutes. I can do 30 minutes of just focused work on this one hobby, skill, ambition that I want to do. All right, so start there. Lower the dramatics, start for 30 minutes. And this 30 minutes, it also helps my comfort zone part of me that's like, I need comfort in order to survive the next day. I can still do my routines. I still have enough time built in my day that I can spare 30 minutes. Because if you look at your life honestly, the average person spends 4 to 6 hours on their phones. Okay, now I am not strolling on social media because it's toxic, all right, and it's killing us, right? But I do spend time on Netflix. I do spend time, if I'm looking at podcasts on YouTube, I sometimes dwindle to the stupid YouTube shorts, right? There's 30 minutes in my day, okay? That's not actually carrying me into survival and comfort zone, right? So I can spare 30 minutes. All right, second thing we need to look at is our expectations. Now this also has to do with our dramatic brain, all right? We have this idea of what we want, and then it's way too big and it overwhelms us and it either burns us out really fast or we just think we're a failure, right? Me starting up my YouTube channel again, I have to lower my expectations. How many views am I gonna get on this first video? I'm hoping 3, right? But beforehand, my dramatic brain is like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be, everything's gonna go viral, woo, and I'm just gonna be famous like that, right? Granted, fame is definitely not what I want, but I do want to reach a lot of you because I would like to help as much as I can, but I've got to lower my expectations. All right, what's realistic? What can I actually do? All right, so I have not only this YouTube channel goal, I also have a goal of writing. I love writing, but writing is so hard. the hardest thing about writing is opening the freaking computer. Why? It's because of our dramatic brain. If you open that computer, you're gonna spend 4 hours. And if you spend 4 hours, you're gonna lose sleep. And you're gonna, do this and this and this and this. 30 minutes. Set a timer. Do whatever you need, okay? And those expectations, every day is not gonna be quality work, but I'm gonna set up that habit. I'm gonna show up every day. I can do that. And then I'm not waking up with regret. I'm saying, yeah, I did that yesterday. I worked on this and I worked on that. Or I have systems where 3 days a week, I'm working on this, and then the other, I'm working on this. There's ways to do this. And we just gotta calm our brains down and say, it's not that deep. It's not that big of a deal. I can handle 30 minutes. I can handle 20 minutes. I can handle 1 minute a day. Then you build up and you find joy in it. And you realize, oh, maybe this is kind of turning into my new comfort zone. Bam! Yes! And then we gotta change and do some more. We'll get to that later. All right, the third thing that is helping me is that I'm putting my distractions away. I'm putting down my Netflix. I'm putting down my YouTube. Even though I am learning and I watch podcasts and things like that, sometimes they turn into more of distractions rather than help. Right? So I'm putting them down and I'm going to let myself be bored so my brain can gain some perspective. All right? In my comfort zone, in my just survival mode, it was nice to kind of zone out and not be able to think about the pain that I was in or the pain that I was in, or the pain that I could be in, right? Distractions, sometimes they can be helpful, right? No one wants to think about their pain, right? But I'm no longer so far in the hole. I am, out of the hole most days, that those distractions aren't keeping me away from pain. They're keeping me away from living. So I need to be aware that they're no longer serving me. These distractions are not serving us. And I have to be willing to be uncomfortable in my boredom and then finally figure it out what it is that I want to do, right? But people are so scared because they put it down for 10 minutes and they start to spiral, right? They haven't gained the skills to know hey, I don't have to think about that one conversation or that terrible, terrible person or that terrible, terrible feeling. We don't actually have to think about what pops in our head, okay? We get to control what we focus on, all right? And so instead of spiraling in my boredom, I, engage in what's around me, whether that's my kids or friends or colleagues or students. And then in those moments where I really have no one to engage with, I engage with who I want to be. What do I actually want? I have this idea, I have this imagination, I have this creation, I have this idea. I'm too scared to do it, but it keeps coming to my mind. If it keeps coming to your mind, do it. Do something about it, okay? That's your key. Not everyone. So many teenagers say, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to work on, okay? First off, they're too distracted to think about it. Second off, they won't take the time to figure it out because of the spiral that happens at first, right? They hate boredom. They can't stand it, right? They're just so worried about focusing on the negative and the da-da-da-da-da. How do I get my brain off of it? Well, say, hey, stop thinking about that. That's not helpful. What do I want to do? Sit there for as long as it takes. And eventually your creativity jumps back, okay? Now, if you are addicted to social media, your dopamine kind of sucks. And so the things that used to bring you joy won't. And so you gotta have to go through a detox. You're gonna have to allow yourself to be bored and to be miserable for days without your brain kind of engaging and saying, hey, what would make me happy? It's gonna suck, but wouldn't it be worth it, that rough week or two, to then finally gain some sort of I actually do care about stuff. I don't know, is it too hard? Is it too big of a jump? I don't know. You'll have to ask yourself if it's worth it or not, okay? Anyway, so you have to be bored enough for your mind to actually wander and be like, oh yeah, this would be fun. And then you just try it a little bit here, a little bit there. You experiment. And yeah, like I mean, because sometimes they just don't follow through. Like you might have an idea and then you realize that you just don't like it, right? I have a great idea of, being a really good artist. I think being a good artist would be really fun. And I realized that I actually don't like it, right? So I'm okay with my drawing skills, which is hideous, right? And then I move on to the next thing. Whereas writing, I like writing. I'm a storyteller. I love telling stories, right? And so improving my writing skills was a no-brainer for me, and it ended up being fun. So experiment, try it. Your whole life is an experiment. You don't have to start something at 16 and stay there for the rest of your life, right? That's how people burn out and have midlife crisis. Experiment, try something here, try something there. 30 minutes a day. Try it for a couple weeks, and if you're like, I'm out, then it's out and try something new. 30 minutes a day. Is it really that long? Is it really that awful? And that was a life lesson with Lindsay. Hi guys. New year, new beginnings. Let's go. Let's do this. What now? What'd you learn? What can you put in place into your life and work on it? All right? Now, get off social media and go do something. Love you. Bye.